Hey guys, welcome to a special edition of On the Block with Igor Henriquez and myself, Joe Verfari. We're going to get to NBA in the second segment. First segment, what we wanted to talk about was our beloved home hockey team. Now, I wanted to say, there's a few things that are, mysteries to man. Where did we come from? What's in the universe? And who's running the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? I think that's the third question right now, in that order.
Yeah.
So, Igor, I know you want to vent after the Leafs lost, was it 6-3 yesterday?
Yes.
To
Carolina.
Peter Mrazek, the Carolina,
James
but Peter
Reimer,
Mrazek, James Reimer, and David Ayers.
And new folk here, David Ayers.
You can see him at Rico Coliseum or Coca-Cola Coliseum because he's driving the Zamboni Marlies game. Igor, kick it off.
So I want to premise this, first of all, by saying this is not a detriment to David Ayers. Man lived his lifelong dream last night. Good on the man. All in all, last night might have been, and I unfortunately attended that live, might have been the biggest disgraceful performance that I've ever seen a sports team provide, at least in this city. You have a team that had just come off a great game against the Penguins where they beat them 4-0.
You got embarrassed the game before.
I got embarrassed the game before, and you're thinking, well, this team's like Jekyll and Hyde. Then you have a situation where they were, to be fair to the Carolina Hurricanes, Carolina was thoroughly outplaying them throughout the game. Even, you have Reimer that gets injured when he gets bumped. Not sure if he had a concussion or where he pulled something. Mrazek, who comes out of the net, for whatever reason, gets drilled by Clifford. Didn't see anything wrong with the Clifford hit. Mrazek's obviously not going to come back, concussion protocol and so forth. Being in the stadium, and everybody's like, well, the emergency goalie's going in. We're all like, well, who the heck is this guy?
Was he dressed?
He was in watching the game. Again, he's a Zamboni driver for the Marlies. He's practiced with the Leafs before. He's a Toronto employee.
This was an inside job.
So basically, you see Rob Brendamore shaking his head,
yeah.
and we're like looking at what's a Zamboni driver, and we're like, well, this is going to be fun and entertaining. First two shots he faces, they go in, and we're like, well, it's a field day.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought it was
It's a
over.
field day.
Yeah.
But here's the issue, and this is where I have a huge problem with these guys. And when I left the Scotiabank Arena yesterday, probably as embarrassed to be a fan of this franchise ever. 35 years since I could walk, since I could actually watch some television. I've gone on with these guys. Yesterday was as disgusting, an abomination as I've ever seen in my life. The third period, they came out absolutely flat. Gave up 2 early goals. I could have been in net and won that game.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to David Ayers. He had a couple shots in the third period that were literally a 5-mile-an-hour shots that I could have stopped. And it was a disgraceful performance to the laughingstock of the league, the Cleveland Browns of the NHL, and all those guys, were the majority of them, because there were a couple of guys that played with some heart, should be embarrassed because a lot of them are playing for the back of the jersey and not the front of it.
I'm barely even doing the front of it.
10 million, 11 million,
yeah,
13 million, whatever the heck some of them are making. It was an embarrassing effort. We're thinking, everyone in the arena is stunned. We're thinking, throw some shots on net. Well, the poor guy, you could tell him the Tavares shot, by the time he went down, the puck was already in the net. Yeah. His reflexes, he's 42 years old. He's a Zamboni driver. He's 42 years old. It was embarrassing.
They couldn't even get a shot on net. They couldn't cross the blue line.
And I will give Carolina some credit
100%.
there. But it's also a point where they weren't playing well. Carolina realizes, we got to play strong defensive hockey, build a wall around this guy. They lose Brett Pesce, who's probably their second best defenseman next to Slavin. Jake Gardner's out there who can't play a lick of defense after that, and they still can't do anything. This team is an utter joke. An utter joke. Playoffs, no. Florida's, again, not doing well itself. This team is not going to do anything in the playoffs.
Florida beat Vegas yesterday?
No, they lost to Vegas, which somehow leaves the Leafs in a playoff spot still.
That won't last.
They're going to Tampa. They're going to Florida next week.
Yeah, this week.
A joke. An absolute joke. The trade deadline is tomorrow. If it was up to me, half of them wouldn't wear a damn uniform again.
The first round picks, second round picks, whatever.
Tyson Berry's been an abomination since he got here.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be a guy that they needed.
Can't play defense worth a lick. I'd get rid of him. You're not going to re-sign him. He's not going to come back here. He's been a disaster. Trade him for what you can get for him. And then for a couple of the other ones, what are you going to do? I like Kapanen's game yesterday. A couple of them showed up. Mitch Marner's making $10 million. All I see is him crying and moaning about his effort levels. Again, most guys would pay for half of that money. We're not even close, and would run through a damn wall with some half decent skill. A bunch of whiny millionaires that can't get the job done. And again, you can blame Dubas, you can blame whatever.
But you have to
He's
put
not
some
playing
money.
out there. He's not playing out there.
But he signed those guys to those deals.
Which again, to me, again, everyone's like, well, you sign these guys, it's over. To me, you put a price tag on yourself that you want to get paid $10 million, you better play like a $10 million player. And in actuality, most of the time, I can't deny that the young guys got skill. Nylander's having a good recovery season. Matthews he might score 55, 60 goals, might be breaking records.
They can't sign a backup goalie because they have no money. They can't sign any defenseman
Well,
because
again,
they have no money.
If you look at, and again, but see, there's a thing that the defenseman situation, it's a team effort. Yesterday was not a situation
For sure.
where again, the defense played poorly yesterday, no doubt. Martin Marinson, I don't know if he's
Your
got,
buddy,
I don't know if he's got naked pictures of somebody. I don't know what the hell he's still doing
He's
on
in
the
the
team.
lineup every night.
He's in the lineup almost every night with an injury. Keeps getting signed to contracts. He's a grenade. We had a running joke yesterday. And you know what? Yesterday he didn't even play half badly. He wasn't even one of the worst defensemen out there, which is a joke in itself. So where do they go from here? I don't know. I'm personally not watching another game the rest of the year.
Really?
It's pointless. No, it's pointless. Because yesterday I would have put, if I had it, I would have put a trash bag over my head yesterday. Because that's how embarrassed I was leaving that game. I gave a standing ovation to David Ayers. He earned it. I was happy for the guy.
He was the first star of the game.
He was the first star of the game. I was happy for the guy. He came in a nervous situation. He got a standing ovation. Good on the man. The one goalie yesterday that performed reasonably well. I didn't like Freddie's game up until he was decent at the beginning. A couple of the goals were a little wonky. Again, if you look at it, he's maybe a better backup than Hutchinson. That just goes to tell you how they're performing. Anyways, all in all, it was an utter and complete joke. The franchise right now is an utter complete joke, a laughing stock of the league. And yeah, I'm not watching because if they make it to the playoffs, they got Tampa or Boston.
Yeah.
They are not going to do anything based on the way that they are playing.
And nothing's
It's no
gonna change.
point. I'm not going to put my time and energy. I love fuming. Well, we were talking to other fans on the way out. It was a kid, just a joke. I had to be. There was kids all around. I had to contain my language because there's little kids that don't deserve to be heard. Any of that stuff. People were throwing beers at each other at the end of the game.
Really?
It was an utter disgrace. The arena's filled. My buddy made a good point. The arena's always filled. They don't care, and so forth.
They never did care, and that's always been a problem.
That's-
They've always had
that's
full
their
seats.
issue.
They never really care because they've been making money. What was that I want to talk about? I wanted to bring a Lamar Grant quote into here and just say a lot of the Leafs fans were, I don't know about witnessers, but they've kind of been promised something by the team, and they haven't shown anything on the ice. I talked with Tino about Boston, because he's a big Boston fan. We had the group chat going yesterday, one of our friends. And they got smashed yesterday as well.
Yes.
But they've also been maybe the best team in hockey from start to finish right now. And they have one line. Really, they have one line that's, all-star elite. Then they have a bunch of guys that know their role in the second, third, and fourth
Yes,
line.
exactly.
And I had this argument with Tino and a few other buddies saying that even if you remove that top line, if you took away Pasternak, Marchand, and Bergeron, you kept Krejci and all those other guys.
Mhm.
I bet you that if you got another third or second line guys put on the first line, they have, if not the same or a better record than the Leafs because they play with heart. And they know how to defend.
Well, the thing with those guys is this to me, and again, I don't know what the heck goes on in the Leafs dressing room or what the heck's going on over there. The thing with the Bruins is the Bruins have a lot of guys that are veteran guys that have been through the wars.
McAvoy,
And,
all kinds, yeah.
Char can barely skate these days. He's still out there. He's been through it all. They know how to play winning hockey to grind out wins. Muzzin, who's been only there on the Leafs for now going on his second year, been there about a year now.
Just over a year.
Just over a year. He basically says it like it is, and I respect the guy for it. And he's supposed to resign here if he does it. I wouldn't blame him after what he's seen the last couple of weeks. They want it easy. They think that they're gonna get through playing their little skilled games, which sometimes
It will against bad teams.
when everything's clicking. Yesterday nothing clicked, nothing absolutely. They couldn't complete a pass. Is that Sheldon Keefe's fault? No, not in my opinion. Because what's he supposed to do? He's got to rely on his main guys. When the main guys aren't going, the team falls to pieces and they play like junk. And to me, again, whether it's Nylander, Marner, or Matthews, Tavares, or whoever, you're getting paid a huge amount of money. And you took the team to task because you wanted your money, not allowing money to be put on the back end and so
How do you
forth.
spend it? That's what I mean. How do you spend it with your
Now
backup goalie?
you better come to play. I don't want to see these tiers and the same crap coming, especially out of Marner's mouth.
That's what I was gonna say.
Same crap.
Between Matthews and Marner the whole season, from last year and this year, every time there's a bad game, what did they say? I have clear visuals in my head. Matthews with a sad face. Oh, we need to be better effort next game. How many times can you say that before you say?
Well, again, they want to go with the whole youth thing, where a lot of these guys are still 23, 24 years old, but they've been in the league for 4 years. You can't keep doing that. They're young. They'll learn. They gotta go through it, and so forth. This is year 4. You can't be doing that, especially in a salary cap situation where you're not expected to take days off. Carolina's coming off a back-to-back. They gave up.
They lost to New York.
50 shots almost that they gave up to them last night. Two of their goaltenders are out. You have a guy that realistically, had they thrown a couple slap shots at him from even a large range, they might have got in. But again, that third period was maybe again the most disturbing thing I've ever seen, because literally they gave him almost no work. They had maybe one decent shot on net. The others were about 5 miles an hour, and anybody could have been in there. You could have put. I'm a big fan of the Simpsons. You could have put Millhouse with
you wanted me in there. Right? All the guys
well,
wanted me in
there yesterday. I told you, like, because you had messaged me, hey, what's going on with the Leafs? I'm like, hey man, you gotta get to the arena. They might need you. And you know what? You might have stopped everything. You might have stopped the Tavares shot and so forth. Like you would have had a shutout.
It was sad.
You would have had a shutout. And again, that's not to the detriment of Ayers. But the man last time he last played was in 2000, and I think it was 2015.
Like junior B or something, right?
He let in 11 goals on 40 shots playing in the beer league. You didn't throw in like a guy like a Rudy situation.
I don't even understand how these guys get on the emergency goal.
So basically, everyone has to have that in that situation. So every situation is that there's always an emergency keeper at every game. So he gets paid $500 to come to the game and relax just in case.
Sit in the box.
And sit in the media room just in case something were to happen to the other couple of goalies. Now there's some teams that carry 3 goalies, one will be in the press box, but you have to have them on the roster by a certain amount. I think it was by 5 o'clock. So Carolina wanted somebody else in there. They didn't want Ayers in there because Ayers works for the Leafs. So who knows? Like Ayers, it was his benefit to basically let everything in. Now, would another one have stopped the 2 shots he let in? Probably not, because Tavares beat him pretty clean on a screen, and the other one was a rebound that I think most goalies would have let in. Yeah. So it wasn't really his fault. He did a hell of a job. They gave Rob Brennan gave him a bath,
beer shower,
whatever. It was again the most disgusting situation I've seen in 35 years as a fan of this team, and they should be getting tarred and feathered, whatever you want to come up with. That should happen to half those guys, because they got no heart. And again, and it might be one of those situations where you throw in a move. I would get rid of half of them, because again, at least you send a message and so forth. Because again, you're not competing for anything. Nobody takes them seriously as a contender. And a lot of them are signed long term. What are you gonna do? Unless they grow up and have a parent. What are you gonna do with that?
So I mean, like, even if you had Matthews and you offered him straight up for McKinnon, they wouldn't take him. No, like a lot of these guys, these top-notch players are not in the same.
The thing is that they have this mentality of taking days off. There are a ton of skill situations, but they take these. If things aren't going their way, they shut down, and that's their problem. Their defensive zone stuff. Yes, and again, I can't even blame grenade launcher Marinson yesterday, because he messed up a couple times, but it didn't really lead to goals. It was the other guys. Sandin was terrible. Barry was terrible. Dermott, I don't know what the heck happened on one of the goals. He kicked it in his own net. Like a lot of them were atrocious. I mean, Riley's not there, so I get it. You're missing your best defender. But man, it was a comedy of errors against a team that realistically probably had to play defensive in the third period. They scored 2 goals. The Zamboni driver ended up with a shutout in the third period on 4 shots, 5 shots maybe. It was an absolute disgrace.
The Leafs at this point, I know they have skilled guys, but maybe you have to change the system, because I was talking about it, and they were saying even yesterday, you don't even need a goalie in net yesterday.
Oh no!
Really, right? Like, you could have had even just another player to stay back there as a sweeper.
You could have had Millhouse with that would have been the case.
Because you look at teams, I was arguing with those guys yesterday, because they were trying to tell me that Anderson is not, like a top-notch goalie, and I was saying he's still like top 10, top 15 guy. When you're playing in front of a team like the Leafs, it's tough because you're getting so many high percentage quality shots. Where teams like the Devils, teams like Nashville, Dallas, all their goalies are incredible. But even with St. Louis, another team, Binnington takes the game off. Jake Allen comes in. I've never been a fan of Jake Allen. I think he's terrible. 19 save shutout.
Yeah, but guess what team leads the league in high risk shots against? It's the freaking Carolina Hurricanes. So
They also score a lot, similar to
them
the
playing
Leafs, right?
them playing that zone, that situation where they were so great defensively, they gave up high risk opportunity. They're missing Dougie Hamilton. They're
They
missing.
made it to the East
They're
Final
missing.
last
They're
year.
missing Pesci. They were missing. They should have been destroyed in that third period based off who they could play out there, and that effort that was.
But the
to me,
team
like,
bought in.
but they bought in. But here's the thing: it's just the same thing that happened on Tuesday. The Leafs see Malkin leave during warm-ups. Oh, he got sick. He can't play. They're like,
I think
oh,
it's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
a
an
breeze.
easy night. I guarantee you, they came in that third period. Oh man, the backups in. It's gonna be an easy. Just throw some pucks at him. We're gonna get 7 or 8
You
buys.
can't cross the blue line.
Can't cross the blue line because they're not getting. Their power play was atrocious yesterday. They did not have a good game whatsoever. Again, anybody could have played in that and won yesterday the way they were playing. But all in all, like I said, so it was a disgrace. Worst moment for me as a fan. I would have put a trash bag over my head, and I won't be watching anymore. I'll be looking at the scores, see what's going on. I won't be watching because sometimes it's a waste of my time.
Playoff game, you.
No, for what? Playoff game for what? So they can get bounced.
Down by
So
Boston
they
again.
can get bounced again for get my hopes up for what? It's constant. You keep giving these guys the
False
benefit of the
hope.
doubt. Yeah, but here's the thing. It's not like it wasn't like back in '93 when I remember when my sister was born. I was listening to when the '93 playoffs. Those guys you can get behind. Those guys worked. Those guys, they you know what? They got beat by Wayne Gretzky having a crazy great game 7. But those guys, you guys can get behind. You had Gilmore, you had Clark.
Yeah.
You had guys that would go through a
Andrew Chuck
wall.
was there back then.
Andrew Chuck. Those guys were guys worth watching because at the end of the day, you never question those guys' heart. You got Wendell Clark being able to battle guys. These guys, who the heck knows? Yeah, have they overachieved a little bit being young guys and they got to the playoffs, so you took Washington 6 games.
Yeah, you won, but they
Sure.
still haven't got over the first round.
But that's the thing. I mean they were a last place team three years ago. But all in all, like
This is a league where
they're
half the
not
team makes the
built.
playoffs.
They're not built to in a situation where they got the character guys that are gonna get them through. At least not now, unless these guys get a reality check in there.
And even
Look in the mirror, crap. Like
yeah,
that
how many times do you have to hear that? I said
Yeah.
that with Matthews and everybody, right? But you were talking about the early '90s teams, and then even the early 2000s teams when they lost
Yeah.
against Philly. Like they had some deep
Yeah,
guys,
hard.
had like Roberts,
And Darcy
Shane
Tucker knocking
Corson.
Kapanen into
Like
the
they
next
had-
week.
they
They had
need
guys.
guys like that.
Yeah, they don't
more
have
than
any of those
ever.
guys. They got rid of Kadri, and you know what? For $4 million on the third line, I understood it because the guy come playoff time was always
Suspended.
They could use that guy
Yeah.
because at the end of the day they got no one. And again, maybe he
If
doesn't
you
play
could
with his
ship
head.
out, yeah, if you could ship out Tavares maybe and then.
Well,
maybe,
that's the thing.
maybe
That's
Kadri.
and you know what? As much as John came back home and good. I was at the time.
10 million.
I was against that move because in the summer before it happened because it just didn't make any sense. You already had Matthews at a specific number,
Same
and all
position.
that did was raise their contracts. You gave him $11 million. It threw your contract structure completely out of whack.
Matthew comes
The
in
young-
saying I want the same thing.
Yeah, the young guys all want to get paid around that same money. It throws your salary cap all over the place. You look at Braden Point's getting paid $8 million. It's just as good as
All those
Caliber.
Tampa guys. Yeah.
All those Tampa guys are
All
getting
those
paid
Boston
reasonable
guys.
money.
Pasternak's making what, 5.5?
Pasternak's making $6 million, and again, this is what I'm talking
They
about.
can't hold
They're
the
over-
skates.
They're not. They overpaid a bunch of them. So now you're stuck with playing young guys on defense and hoping for the best on D and again having to pay these $700,000 guys, hoping they can do some things.
Yeah. And if you were Chicago and you won the cup, you can do that because that's what they did for the longest time, right? They trade all their high priced guys. They keep their Tays and Kane, trade everybody
But
else,
here's the thing.
and bring in minimum guys. But you won a cup at least.
But you get Buffalo, other guys. But at least those guys were insulated with guys like Duncan Keith and other veteran guys at that point, and like Patrick Sharp. These guys were handed the reins, and you could tell that they're not
They're
really
not
ready
winners.
for it.
They're not winners.
They're not winners. They haven't done anything. They hadn't done anything to get that money, and then that was my biggest problem. Nothing. You win a cup, then whatever.
Do what you want.
You
Same
know
as the
what?
Raptors.
Well,
Kyle Lowry,
Raptors-
you want to give him
Raptors-
$35 million for 1 year? Do it. You guys
Yeah.
have a ring. Nobody's gonna take that away.
And again, I still think Kyle's overpaid, but
We're gonna get
that's
to
just
that.
me. But it's a disgraceful thing that they handed them the money, they held them hostage, and now they're paying for it because now they can't do
Because-
much.
Yeah. Lastly, we're gonna wrap this up.
Cody Ceci on defense, another disaster.
column. Yeah. Rantanen on Colorado. Him and Marner went into the same offseason
Yeah.
with the same. And I always like Rantanen better because he's a bigger player and he brought it in the playoffs last year. What's he making? 7.5.
But why? Because McKinnon signed a nice team friendly deal, and he says he'd do it again, where he's making half of what
Because
Matthews is
those guys
making.
know what it takes to win. Right?
And all in all, like It's not like you shouldn't get your money out. I get it. You know, you
It's not
succeed, you
even a
get your money.
massive discount. It's what the going rate is
Like
around the league.
Austin is making around what McDavid is
And he's
making,
not McDavid.
and realistically, he's not McDavid. But I mean, McDavid hasn't had that much success either per se. But
He actually has.
But he at
nobody on
least
this
but he
roster.
has the points, and you know what? Like Draisaitl off of him, and now Solo's is like leading the league in scoring by quite a bit. He's making 8-9 million. Like, are the Oilers gonna make the playoffs? Who the heck knows? Because they're a lot like the Leafs. They're top heavy and they don't have much else. They're bottom of the thing for wingers. The defense is terrible. Goaltending you can't trust. They're the Leafs of the West. But all in all,
But the Leafs have way more talent
Like-
than Edmonton. Edmonton has 2 guys.
top heavy, yeah, top heavy. Where the Leafs might have some guys on the pieces, but all in all, like.
And Edmonton is
I don't know.
like
I don't know what you do in this situation. Like, you know, do you trade like Nylander's having a good year? Do you trade him for D? I have
You
no
think
idea.
so? Do you think
Well,
they
yeah,
make? Do you think? Okay, we'll end it with this. Do you think the Leafs make a big deal tomorrow?
I think Tyson Barrie's played his last game in Toronto.
Yeah. Okay. So
I think
he's gone as well.
I think he's gone. I think
And
he
what do
gets
you think
shipped
you
out.
get for him? A first or a
I
second?
mean, I would love to get a first round pick for him. He's a UFA, and then they might just get rid of him and then bring in whatever they get from him that they'll use to get another asset, a guy with more term. They need defensive defensemen.
But I guess Nylander's maybe the easiest guy to move, and you think that he stays?
Nylander stays because I don't think that's a move that you can make with a day or the deadline. And realistically, like
He's been there better. He's been one of the better guys.
he's
But he's a
he's
movable guy. That's the only thing.
He's
Right?
movable because at the end of the day, if you would
The
say that out
contract's
of
fair.
all 4 of them, none of that, the contract is there, and he probably isn't in the other tier or the other 3.
Mhm.
Because when they're on, they're great. The problem is again when they're off, they're
They
awful.
bring nothing.
And then you get those situations where you have I mean, I can just imagine what the headline of the Toronto Sun was today, and it's a disgrace. They're a laughing stock all over the league. And as a team, like I said, I'm not watching any more this year until they get some of this stuff fixed up. I'll look at the box scores because again, God loves me. Funny enough, I told my buddy, and it was in the paper like 5-6 years ago. Situation, there was a guy that died, and you know what he put in his obituary? That he wanted the Leafs to be his pallbearers so they can let him down one more time. Yeah. And that's, you know what? And me in 2030, whatever, by the time, I might do the
You
same
do the
thing.
same thing.
Because these guys
Yeah.
drive me insane. Absolutely insane. And you know what? I've been privy with, if it's not the Patriots, if it wasn't the Portuguese national team,
Yeah, you've been
the
lucky.
Raptors,
You've
I've had a couple of great years. Like from 2016 to 20, I've had some great years. But these guys, since I was a little kid, every single year they're getting let down.
The Undertakers.
Like I don't know how much you can take. And I'm only like 35 years old. I can just imagine with the ones that have
next
been
10 or 20
45, since 67. Like that's literally 53 years since they did what anything. They're the Cleveland Browns of the NHL. They're a laughing stock.
There's only 33 teams in the NHL?
30 or 31 teams.
31.
Well,
So
I
you
got
gotta
another
think.
Vegas. I'm at 32 maybe. And all in all, like they should have fluked
That's
one
what,
off.
but that's what I was gonna say.
They've
You
only
can just
won one
process of
16.
elimination, right?
Yeah,
Alright, we gotta wrap it up. We gotta get
Absolutely
to
disgusting.
gotta get to
It's an
basketball.
abomination.
Disgusting. The Leafs pick it up because you were gonna have a heart attack on the set. We'll see you guys next time.